The construction industry is warning the National Cabinet pledge for 1.2 million new homes over the next 5 years is already unlikely to be met. The latest ABS figures reveal a 17% slowdown in residential construction starts, so people starting to build a house, in the year to September 2023. It's forecast there'll be just over 95,000 new house commencements in 2024. That's the weakest in a decade, well short of what you need for 1.2 million over 5 years. Hundreds of construction firms say they're also experiencing cash flow stress, prompting fears many could go into insolvency. The opposition says it's all exacerbating the housing crisis.
Not only is home building not growing, it's actually going backwards at an alarming rate. And quite frankly, it's likely to get even worse because we see building approvals, the step before actually building a home, down even further. So if Australians thought 2023 was a housing crisis, 2024 is going to be much worse.
New South Wales Premier Chris Minns has conceded he will fall short on his National Cabinet commitment to build 75,000 new homes before the end of the year. Joining me now for more on this, Housing Industry Australia Managing Director Jocelyn Martin. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I'm reasonable at maths. 100,000 in a year. That doesn't sound like you're going to get 1.2 million over 5. It's about half the rate or less than that you need to go at. Why are we so far behind already?
Well, that's right. We need to build 1.2 million homes in over 5 years, which is the government target. We need 240,000 homes to be built every year. And yes, whilst that figure that you quoted is houses as opposed and doesn't necessarily include multi-unit apartments. Even that, we're well short of that.
So if you add them on, what's the best case then?
What's the best case? Well, probably at the moment we are looking at, more like 190,000, 180,000 homes, and that's probably a best case.
Yeah, so that's still 50, 60,000 behind.
That's right.
How much of this is down to rates? Because, governments always have an impact on things. They can have policies. New South Wales seems to be probably the most forward-leaning out of all the governments around actually getting density going and so on.
Yes.
But if people don't have the cash or the confidence, they won't buy the houses and create the demand.
Well, confidence has certainly been an issue over the last few months, or the last 12 months for that matter, as interest rates have climbed up. And, our volume builders are telling us that traffic through display homes, for instance, which is a really great indicator of forward demand, is actually slowed right down. And I guess we think that people are waiting now to see what interest rates will do. I guess the good news out of that is that there is demand there. People do want to get out of their rental accommodation, and first home buyers do want to get into their first home.
Yeah.
And so once that confidence comes back in the market, that we think that demand will be there.
Okay. What odds would you put the chances of getting to 1.2 million? Because the federal government talks about the social element. It's a tiny percentage of the houses that will be built.
Well, the government announced this week that they are starting their Housing Australia Future Fund with 40,000 social and affordable homes. So, yes, it's a very small proportion of the 1.2 million. It's an essential component of the 1.2 million, but still nothing compared to what is needed. And the 1.2 million, whilst it does sound aspirational on one level and appears to be in terms of what we've been building, at the same time, it is what is needed in order to create affordability in the rental system, to create the right amount of vacancy.
Or even maybe just not making it get worse with migration numbers coming in. So it's not like if we get there, we'll go, great, it's all sorted. It's just to keep the worst away. Okay, what about cost? Because costs spiralled massively during COVID.
They did.
Have they come down? I mean, everyone's talking about what's happening with the supermarket industry. Have they actually come down? Because people will put up prices, builders will put up prices, maybe they don't put them down, maybe they just plateau for a while. Are you confident prices have actually come back down to reflecting what they're having to pay for labour and materials?
So during COVID, the prices of all supplies just skyrocketed, timber and concrete in particular, and we've certainly seen timber prices come back from their COVID levels, and we've seen, but concrete, for instance, is still very high, and I don't think that they'll ever go back to the pre-pandemic levels.
Not back there, but no. How much confidence do we have once you can sell something at a certain price? If you're selling it, you're unlikely to bring it down. Maybe you keep it at the same price for a while. Are people actually, builders actually saying, look, yeah, the timber's a lot cheaper now, we'll bring that back down?
I think where they can, they are. And I think that the certainty of being able to price ahead is really important for builders as well.
What about quality? If you want someone to buy something new, they've read anything about apartments, but also houses as well, problems. A lot of them seem to have problems. A lot of them seem to have water problems as well. Is enough being done that? Is private certifying, has that failed?
Look, there is houses are a complicated thing to put together, and there's often defects at the end of a project that get rectified. Certainly in the multi-unit sector, there are some complex issues, particularly as you mentioned around waterproofing. There's a lot of improvements around education and for builders to improve their skills around waterproofing, and as we've seen, there's a lot more regulation, I suppose, around making sure that buildings are meeting the construction code and meeting those regulations as well. So I think that the consumer can have some confidence that whilst there will always be some level of defects at the end, because it is so complicated, that those major defects that we're seeing in some of those apartment complexes, particularly in New South Wales, are being really well addressed.
All right, well, we'll see. So that target, you've laid down the marker, I'm sure we'll talk down the track and see how it's tracking. Jocelyn Martin, thank you.
Thank you.